ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਸੀਜੇ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਸ਼ੋ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਐਵਰੀ ਥਰਸਡੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਹੋਈਦਾ ਤੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਈ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਮੋਸਟਲੀ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਸ਼ੀਅਨਸ ਨਾਲ, ਬਟ ਸਮ ਟਾਈਮਸ ਡਿਪੈਂਡਿੰਗ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਹੈ, ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰੀ ਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ ਆ ਰਹੇ, ਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ, ਸੋ city politicians, but there is a lot of things are going on. I start with the breaking news तो शुरू करीदा है कि दुनिया दे विच की चल रहा है. So one of the big breaking news is at a G7 summit, the big deal by President Trump with Iran. So that peace deal was signed yesterday, so as a memorandum of understanding. So the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. So already the ships start moving. So ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ gas prices already start coming down. So we can see on the gas pumps, you can see that it's a bit of a relief. It's a funny thing, that now we think $1.90 is a good deal. But ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਹੁਣ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ prices ਥੱਲੇ ਆਉਣਗੀਆਂ. It will be good for the inflation coming down, good for the affordability. So ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ deal ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, and so basically this deal right now is opening the Strait of Hormuz, and the flow of the tankers will start, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ already. And ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਮੇਨ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, Iran want America to spend $300 billion for their infrastructure built or something. That's in the works as well. And ਜਿਹੜੀ ਈਰਾਨ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਰਤ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨੈਤਨਯਾਹੂ they have to stop attacking Lebanon. So ਇਹ ਬੜਾ crucial point ਹੈਗਾ ਆ. President already talked to Netanyahu to stop attacking because that's part of the deal. So peace is not only in Iran but also in Lebanon. ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਨੈਤਨਯਾਹੂ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਆਊਗਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੀ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ. So after this, so deal will be properly officially signed. I think the Vice President will go tomorrow to sign that on Friday. And then it's kind of a cooling off period for 60 days. And ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਰ ਯੂਰੇਨੀਅਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਉਹਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਟਰੰਪ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਯੂਰੇਨੀਅਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਨਰਿਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨ ਦੇਣਾ, ਕਿ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਬ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਬਣਦੇ ਆ. ਸੋ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਕ੍ਰੂਸ਼ਲ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ. ਸੋ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ. ਦੋਨੇ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀਆਂ they win, but Iran have an upper hand in this one. All the analysts saying that ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਡੀਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, they stood their ground for 3 months in the war, and ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਡੀਲ ਆਪਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਡਾਟਡ ਲਾਈਨ 'ਤੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ. ਸੋ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਵਨ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਿੰਗ ਨਿਊਜ਼. ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ BC ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁਣ ਗਰਮੀ ਦਾ ਮੌਸਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਵਾਈਲਡ ਫਾਇਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਫੋਰੈਸਟ ਫਾਇਰਸ ਹੈ ਫੇਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ. ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਾਫੀ ਕਲੋਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ. ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਇਜ਼ ਰੈਡੀ ਫॉर दैट, ਬਟ ਲੁਕਿੰਗ ਫੋਰਵਰਡ ਟੂ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. ਅਨਦਰ ਥਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਕਲਟਸ ਲੇਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਟਰ ਪਾਰਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਇਲੈਕਟ੍ਰਿਕ ਸ਼ਾਕ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ 12 ਚਿਲਡਰਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, 12 ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਫਰੋਮ ਮੈਨੀ ਖੈਡਾ ਮਿਡਲ ਸਕੂਲ ਆਫ ਪੋਰਟ ਕੋਕਟਲਮ ਐਂਡਡ ਅਪ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਹੌਸਪੀਟਲ. ਉਹਦੀ ਇਨਕੁਆਰੀ ਵੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ. So it's unfortunate, but they will find out that what happened and why that happened. ਦੂਸਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਿਗ ਕੰਟਰੋਵਰਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਸਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ firing of Chief Norm Lipinski and Surrey Police Board. So former police board chair resigned because of this, and now the new chair, Parm Javanda, took over as a Surrey Police chair. And and the controversy is she is saying that police chief can't publicly go and talk openly, so they're restricting his speech. And ਉਸ ਦੇ ਸਦਕਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ Surrey police union is very upset, and they are saying that you can't restrict police chief not to speak. Same thing, expert in these issue Cash, he said that. He was on my show last week, and he said these kind of things doesn't happen. Other mayoral candidate, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਸਿਟੀ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲਿੰਡਾ ਐਨਿਸ said same thing. And there were a bunch of people, including politicians, aspiring mayor candidates. Mr. Timmerchuk was there, and lots of police officers were there. So yesterday, Wednesday's police board meeting of Surrey Police Services was very raucous kind of meeting, ਤੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਦੇ ਸੈਂਟੀਮੈਂਟ ਜ਼ਾਹਿਰ ਕੀਤੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਾਇਰਿੰਗ ਆਫ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਲਿਪਿੰਸਕੀ ਐਂਡ ਨਾਟ ਲੈਟਿੰਗ them speak. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਸੈਟਲ ਡਾਊਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਧਰੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ another big news right now in the lower mainland is about Massey Tunnel ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ. ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਪਲਾਨ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਸੀ 10 ਲੇਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਣਨਾ ਸੀ ਬ੍ਰਿਜ, ਐਂਡ ਨਾਓ ਦੇਅਰ ਟਨਲ ਰਿਪਲੇਸਿੰਗ ਵਿਦ ਅ ਟਨਲ supposed to be 4.1 billion. Now it's gone to 11-12 billion. One of the councillor wanted an independent inquiry, Dylan Kruger, who's running for a mayor as well. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ. ਬਾਕੀ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਡੈਲਟਾ ਸਾਊਥ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ MLA ਹੈ Mr. Ian Paton, he voiced his concern very clearly, and because of that I thought it will be very fitting. I invited Delta South MLA. It's his third term, very seasoned politician. He's a farmer by trade, auctioneer. He's MLA since 2017, and he's a critic on agriculture and dikes and drainage committees, and very well known. He was councillor as well in Delta from 2010 for a good 7 years. So he's a community person. He's in the community for 30 years, running the very successful farm. And I thought he will be the best person to talk about Massey Tunnel. Welcome to CJ Sidhu show, Ian.
Thanks for having me, CJ.
So let's start with, you were on a CKNW this morning talking about that, and tell our audience what's going on there.
Well, talk about busy. I think I've done 12 interviews. This will be 13, I believe, in the last 3 days about the Massey Tunnel project that's been put on hold once again by the NDP government. So if we go back in time to when I was on Delta City Council way back in 2010, I think it was 2013 that Christy Clark announced that to Mayor Lois Jackson, said, Mayor Jackson, you're going to get your bridge to replace the George Massey Tunnel. And after that, at our council meetings, we had a guy named Jeff Freer, who was the project manager for the bridge replacement. He would come into our meetings every 3 or 4 months and bring us an update on how things were going. People might remember all the sand, yes, preload sand on the side of Highway 99. We were going to widen Highway 99. We had companies that were test drilling piles to support the bridge. Everything was going perfect. We had another company that was starting to move the hydro lines that go across the river.
I remember that.
$100 million had been spent getting ready for this bridge project. The government estimated the project might cost $3.5 billion, but believe it or not, the actual winning bid for procurement was $2.9 billion, so even less than 3.5. So, I mean, bring it all together. The project was moving forward. $100 million had already been spent. People were excited about this new 10-lane bridge that was going to go up, and then the election took place in 2017. My party actually won the election, but the Greens teamed up with the NDP, and 4 weeks later, they became the government. And right from the get-go, they basically said, look, I don't think we want to go ahead with a bridge. We'd rather go ahead with a tunnel. And really out of spite. It was because, maybe the bridge was the idea of the BC Liberal Party and not the NDP. So out of spite, they said, we don't like the idea of a bridge. We'll go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. So, Ian ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਸੀਗੇ and Lois Jackson was the mayor, he was a councillor, Christy Clark was a premier, ਉਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ 10 lane ਹਾਈਵੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਐਂਡ ਬ੍ਰਿਜ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਮਿੱਟੀ ਸੈੱਟ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ all the estimates everything is done ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਦੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ 2 ਤੋਂ 3 ਬਿਲੀਅਨ ਡਾਲਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਹਾਈਵੇ ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ 2017 ਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੋ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਨ ਬਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਵਾਲੇ MLA ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਣਾ ਲਈ NDP ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੁੱਟ that project in the back burner and where we stand now Ian.
So where we stand now was, let's go back in time where actually Jazz Johal was a colleague of mine. We went to the meeting at Metro Vancouver, and they put together a mayor's task force on the future of the George Massey Tunnel. The NDP government went to a group of mayors at Metro Vancouver. I remember going to that meeting with my colleague Jazz Johal, and they said, you guys decide, with no engineering experience that I'm aware of with these mayors, tell us whether you think it should be a bridge or a tunnel. And they came back and told the NDP government, we prefer to see a tunnel than a bridge. And then that's when they moved forward with that, almost 9 years ago. So here we are 9 years later and nothing. There's barely anything's even been started to build this tunnel. And yet the transportation minister the other day, Mr. Farnsworth, says, no worries, it's still going to be $4.15 billion and it will be completed by the year 2030. I mean, that's laughable.
Oh, so Ian ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਜੈਸ ਜੋਹਲ ਵੀ MLA ਸੀਗੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਹੋਈ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੇਅਰਸ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ NDP ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਐਂਡ Ian ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ no engineering experience and ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਹਿਤਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਟਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਟਨਲ ਨਾਲ ਰਿਪਲੇਸ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ and they decided to do that and ਹੁਣ ਮਾਈਕ ਫਾਰਨਵਰਥ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁਣ 2030 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਣੂਗਾ ਸੋ ਪੁੱਟ ਇਨ ਦ ਬੈਕ ਬਰਨਰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਨਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ and and the cost of building Ian like you said on a CKNW, Dylan Kruger, who is a candidate for mayor for Delta, and he said about 11 billion. You're seeing about 12 billion now?
Yeah, so I have to get confidential emails from, for instance, a very well-known company in BC, a big construction company, and he's frustrated, the owner. He even sent me an email saying, I can tell you right now, with many years of experience in construction, that this thing will probably go to $12 billion. But then we find out that Ottawa, just the other day, leaked that the NDP government's been in Ottawa looking for money, looking for $4 billion towards the tunnel project, and they've leaked out that it's going to be $11 billion. So between 12 billion and 11 billion, it's going to be right in there somewhere. And yet, they're still saying it's going to cost 4.15 billion.
That's it. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਹੈ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਮਾਈਕ ਫਾਰਨਵਰਥ ਉਹ ਹਲੇ ਵੀ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ 4 ਬਿਲੀਅਨ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੀਕਡ ਹੋਇਆ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਿਟੀ ਹਾਲ ਹੈ ਵੈਂਟ ਦੇਅਰ ਟੂ ਆਸਕ ਫॉर ਅ ਮਨੀ ਫॉर $4 billion ਟੂ ਹੈਲਪ ਟੂ ਬਿਲਡ ਦ ਟਨਲ ਸੋ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਾਸਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਡਿਲਨ ਕਰੂਗਰ gone on a global and CKNW talk about this ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ $11 billion ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਪੀਪਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਾਣਦੇ Ian ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ the cost will be between 11 to $12 billion and that basically taxpayer how they will come up with that.
So as a farmer, and I know there's many farmers probably watch your show, we are fiscally responsible. We know what it takes to budget to run a farm properly, and you don't spend more money than you have coming in. So the NDP government is in such trouble right now, $13.5 billion deficit. They've taken our province to in debt to the tune of $180 billion in debt.
Yes.
So I'm starting to think, are they ever going to go through with this tunnel. Maybe this is like the Delta Hospital situation where they're out of money and they're saying we have to pause some of these hospital expansion projects for long-term care beds, and maybe they're going, hey, we don't have the money to go ahead and build this tunnel. And it's such a shame, you know, even environmentally, I still say, you know, the bridge would have been built 3 years ago. We'd be driving over this new bridge, you know, and the bridge pedestals are only on land. Environmentally, we wouldn't be putting a massive tube in the bottom of the Fraser River, which people, you know, environmentally, salmon, sturgeon, all those different things that people really care about now, that maybe didn't care so much about in 1958 when the tunnel first got put in.
So Ian ne kiha, by profession he's a farmer, and as you know, ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ हैं, I'm from Rajasthan, but I'm from a farming family. ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਹੈਗੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ, ਫਾਰਮਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ, ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਦੇ ਬਜਟ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ। You know how hard is being agriculture, and most of our people, including myself, from a farming families.
Yeah.
So we understand your pain as a farmer. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਮੈਸੀ ਟਨਲ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਸੀਗਾ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਇਨਵਾਇਰਮੈਂਟਲੀ ਵੀ ਬੈਟਰ ਹੋਣਾ ਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਪੋਲਸ ਲੱਗਣੇ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਬ੍ਰਿਜ ਬਣਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਇਨਵਾਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋਣਾ ਸੀ। ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡੈਫੀਸਿਟ ਬਜਟ ਹੈ, and I talked about number of times, $13.5 billion deficit budget this year, and total deficit ਜਿਹੜਾ over 180 billion। ਇਹ ਪਤਾ ਬੋਝ ਕਿਹਦਾ ਹੈ? ਪਬਲਿਕ ਦੀ ਮਨੀ ਹੈ, ਪਬਲਿਕ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਇਹਦਾ ਬੋਝ ਪੈਣਾ ਆ। ਈਐਨ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ if they are in a dire situation financially, they are, ਇਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਣੂਗਾ? ਡੈਲਟਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। I will ask, you know, not Delta Hospital, because you know your wife is a chair of the foundation, and Pam, I know her really well, and on top of that you're talking about Delta Hospital. Talk about the second hospital they want to build in Surrey that announced 10 times. If they don't have money, how they will build it?
Well, yeah, I mean, they've talked about this for a long time, about getting started on it. Now, I believe in Cloverdale, they've finally gotten started on it. But, you know, the way things are going with the NDP government, who knows if it's going to keep on being completed? Like maybe they're going to stall the new Surrey hospital as well. And there's a lot of frustration with people about the fact that there's a brand new hospital being built, you know, on its way in Cloverdale, but it doesn't even have, I believe, a maternity ward and different things like that. So I don't think it's as complete as people would like it to be.
So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਜੇ ਬਜਟ ਇੰਨਾ ਡਾਇਰ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜੇ ਇਹ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਐਂਡ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ ਹੈ, ਟਨਲ ਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅੱਡ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਐਂਡ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਲੋਵਰਡੇਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੰਮ ਉੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤਾ ਆ, ਕਈ ਅਨਾਊਂਸਮੈਂਟਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤਾ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਪੈਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਜਿਸ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਰਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ ਕਦੋਂ ਕੰਪਲੀਟ ਹੋਊਗਾ। He said they don't know. What is your Delta South MLA? Ian was a former councillor as well. What is a hospital situation? It's shutting down on the weekend sometimes. There is always a problem. What do you think about?
Well, we have a fantastic community in Delta South, and well, in Delta total,
in general,
you know, North Delta, Ladner, Tawasin. And, you know, there was some great controversy several years ago when the government at the time, the Liberal government, wanted to almost shut down the Delta Hospital to make it just like a slight acute care facility and not a full-on surgical hospital. And I don't know if you remember back, I forget when it was, maybe 2008 or 2009, something like that. The community came together and really protested, like, do not shut down our hospital. And so things have really gone well. The Delta Hospital Foundation has done a fabulous job of raising money. The Toigo family put the money up towards a new diagnostic center at the Delta Hospital. So we have lots of surgeries at the hospital. We have a new diagnostic center, a new laboratory. So the one thing we really need is in British Columbia, there are so many elderly people now
Yes.
that have to leave their homes, unfortunately, and go into an extended care facility. And we're totally lacking that in Delta. So government said, okay, no problem. We're going to build a new 200-bed extended care facility for elderly right next door to the Delta Hospital. They said to the Delta Hospital Foundation, you get the community to raise $18.5 million towards the project, and we'll move forward. Well, the Delta Hospital Foundation got the money from all the people in the community who donated. They did their part. They raised the $18.5 million. The project's supposed to be about $200 million. The government was going to pay the rest of it, and now the government shut it down. Stop. Told the construction company, pack up your tools and leave.
Wow. So Delta ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ Ian ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ, including Ian and myself, who are senior citizen now, technically speaking.
Yeah.
And you know, so Delta ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ care facility ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੇ seniors ਲਈ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਸੀਗੀ, and ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ community ਬੜੀ strong ਹੈ Delta ਦੀ, because I was a Delta resident for 26 years before moving to White Rock. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਕਰੋ। ਡੈਲਟਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, ਹੈਲਥ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮਨੀ ਰੇਜ਼ ਕਰ ਲਈ, ਐਂਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫੈਸਿਲਿਟੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਐਂਡ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਟ ਇਟ ਡਾਊਨ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੰਮ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ provincial government have to fork a less money than what they raised. So where we stand, you know that Delta issues very well.
Yeah, I mean, people are very upset. Myself and Misty Van Popta, who's a MLA from Langley area, we put on a rally right next door to the Delta Hospital about 2 months ago. And we had lots and lots and lots of people that come out to a rally to sort of protest the fact that government is pausing. They use the word pausing or repacing this project moving forward. And the project's already been preloaded with sand and gravel. They've put in the underground septic system, the underground water lines and whatnot. So people are very upset that we did our part by raising $18.5 million towards the project, and now the NDP government has basically killed it. We don't know when it may start up again. No one has any idea.
Nobody knows. So ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਫੈਸਿਲਿਟੀ ਬਣਨੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਈਐਨ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਾਈਫ ਹੈਗੇ ਪੈਮ, ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਚੇਅਰ ਆਫ ਦ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ $18.5 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰੇਜ਼ ਕਰਤਾ। ਪਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੰਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਪੈਣੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਸੀ। ਨਾਓ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਸੈਡ ਦੇ ਡੋਂਟ ਨੋ, ਦੇ ਸ਼ਟ ਇਟ ਡਾਊਨ। ਉਹ ਆਪਦੇ ਟੂਲਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਈਐਨ ਡੋਂਟ ਨੋ। ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈ, ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਇਮੈਜਿਨ ਦੈਟ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਰੀ ਦੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ not having second hospital and people are waiting 7-8 hours in the emergency department, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਈ, ਇੱਧਰੋਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਤੀ। So it's a lot of problem with the NDP government that talk about DRIPA or with the private land issues. What is your take on that? Because that was the big issue during your party's leadership race.
Yeah, I mean, CJ, the government right now is in so much trouble. Like they're dropping in the polls.
Yeah.
We're the BC
He's one of the worst. Rating of Premier EB is that lowest one is Doug Ford, and then he's the second lowest.
Exactly. And I mean, let's look back at Mr. Horgan, who, I got along pretty good with Mr. Horgan.
Very nice guy.
And very nice guy. He actually financially, with his financial minister, Carol James, they left about a $5 billion surplus. And then Mr. Eby takes over. In a matter of 3 years, it's gone to a $13.5 billion deficit. So it's a complete disaster financially how they're running this province, spending way too much money, not enough coming in. We need to open up our resource industry. British Columbia is the envy of all of North America for the mining potential we have, for oil and gas from up in the Peace District. our forestry industry, our agriculture industry, fishing and whatnot. But it's all been stymied, and we need to get that back up and going so that we get income coming into our province, so that we're not just trying to run the province by raising taxes to people. We got to make use of our resources, get people back working, get companies harvesting, forestry, mining, all those different things. We got to get more and more LNG. Even if a pipeline comes from Alberta through to Prince Rupert, that'll be a huge funding to the province of British Columbia.
So, ਈਅਨ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮੇਨ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਈਅਨ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਆਈ ਡੋਂਟ ਨੋ ਵਟ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਡੂਇੰਗ। ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਜਦੋਂ ਹੌਰਗਨ ਸੀਗਾ ਫੋਰਮਰ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਰ, ਹੀ ਵਾਜ਼ ਐ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਰ, very well respected. I respect him, had a chance to meet him, very personable guy. And ਉਹ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਸਰਪਲਸ ਬਜਟ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ, ਕੈਰਲ ਜੇਮਸ was the finance minister at that time. And so when EB and this new government come, Ian, the ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ they run to a deficit of over $13 billion. So ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡੈਫਿਸਿਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ, ਥੋੜੇ ਫੰਡਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਈਐਨ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ we are very resource rich country. We don't need to raise taxes. We need our mining industry, oil and gas, our forestry industry, agriculture industry. We're such a rich province. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੰਪ ਅਪ ਕਰੀਏ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕਰੀਏ, ਫਾਸਟ ਟਰੈਕਿੰਗ ਦ permits or whatever is needed, we can raise enough money to run this province very efficiently without raising taxes, and we will be in surplus, not in deficit.
Absolutely, CJ. We should be the wealthiest province in Canada with all the resources we have. If we could simply cut the red tape, get the permits going, and get companies back up and running in all those different resource industries that we just talked about.
Yeah, so ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੈਡ ਟੇਪ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਾਇਸੈਂਸਿੰਗ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਾਸਟ ਟਰੈਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਰਿਸੋਰਸ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ
to Asia, to Hawaii, to Australia, different places like that. We have that absolutely Australia, different places like that. We have that absolutely laughable is the NDP keep getting up and they keep saying, we're so proud of Site C Dam that's got new electricity coming for us, and we're proud of the LNG project in Kitimat that's going through now. And it was actually the BC Liberal Party, Rich Coleman, all those different people that worked so hard to make the LNG project a reality. Ellis Ross, who is the MLA for up there, and he was the chief councillor of the Haisla Nation. He deserves all the credit, not the NDP. They actually opposed the Site C Dam, and they opposed LNG, 10 years ago.
So, Ian ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਸੀਗੇ, if you remember Site C Dam, ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਿਬਰਲ BC ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਨਸੈਂਟਿਵ ਸੀਗਾ। ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ LNG ਦੀ ਲਾਈਨ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਟੀਮੈਟ ਤੱਕ, that was Christy Clark or Rich Coleman, these guys were behind that project. So ਇਹ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੈਗਸੀ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਐਕਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਵਧਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਨਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। Let's come back to, you are a critic for agriculture, you're a farmer yourself. Tell us a little bit about agriculture landscape in British Columbia and in Delta.
Well, thanks, CJ. I mean, I've been involved in agriculture my whole life. I'm still living on the farm that I was born and raised on 69 years ago. So, I was a former dairy farmer, milk cows for a living. Still growing crops on our farm today. British Columbia is very interesting because it's so varied, our agriculture. It's not just about the Fraser Valley and growing corn or potatoes or blueberries or strawberries. You go around the province and we have the tree fruit industry in the Okanagan. We have the wine industry growing grapes. We have the cattle industry, beef cattle up in the Caribou Chilcotin. Then, of course, you go up to the Peace country, we have canola and grain and all those different things. So we have so much to offer in British Columbia, diversified agriculture. But agriculture nowadays is becoming a very, it's a very risky, it's a high risk business to be in. When you plant a crop, farmers nowadays, you put in, your 40 acres of blueberries or you plant 40 acres of potatoes, it all sounds wonderful, but it's extremely expensive for the seed, for the fertilizer, for your irrigation equipment. And if suddenly you hit, hail, or you hit massive drought where there's no rain for weeks and weeks on end, or you hit a freezing frost that killed off all those blueberry plants and grape plants up in the Okanagan a few years ago. It's very high risk, and government needs to step up and have a fund where farmers can feel that there's compensation for damages, by acts of God to their agricultural crops. And if we don't get that, farmers are going to start saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go do something else. It's too risky.
Yeah. So farming da apan pata hai. We are from farming families. I'm from a farming family. I did myself, believe it or not, when I was young, couple of years.
Yeah.
And so farming, farms grow up with. And the farming family for a long time still lives in the farm. Actually, you have to go home and do what you said?
Today, this afternoon, baling hay.
Baling hay by himself, being MLA and being a reasonably successful businessman and a politician. ਇਹਨੇ ਆਪ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਦੇਖੋ ਆਪਣੀ ਫਾਰਮਿੰਗ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਐਗਰੀਕਲਚਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਦੇਖੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਓਕਨਾਗਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਰਮਸ ਬੇਰੀ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਆਪਣੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਨੋਲਾ ਕੈਟਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, the milk and all those kind of things, and potatoes in Delta is big farms, right?
Delta is the leading potato grower in all of British Columbia. We have such tremendous soil there in Delta for potatoes, but we're also famous for our strawberries, famous for our blueberries. But speaking of blueberries, there's many farmers in BC that got into blueberries, but there's so much competition. We have so many blueberries are being grown now in South America and in Mexico and Central America and even over in Europe and Poland and places like that. So, boy, there's a lot of competition to be able to get a decent price for blueberries. And then blueberries have been hit, as I talked about, acts of God. There's a virus called scorch virus that came along and wiped out a lot of blueberry fields in the Fraser Valley. So, farmers are really tippy-toeing through whether they want to continue planting blueberries.
Yeah. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬਲੂਬੇਰੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਹਿੱਟ ਹੋਈਆਂ, ਫਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਲੀ ਗਈ, ਜੇ ਗੜੇ ਪੈ ਜਾਣ ਤਾਂ, ਜੇ ਫਰੋਸਟ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਫਸਲਾਂ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ। I have a lot of experience, and if we talk about going back to Punjab, the water levels are going so down, it's so hard. I'm from Rajasthan. ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਡਿਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੈਸੇ ਤਾਂ ਰਾਜ ਕਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਪਾਣੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ through to Rajasthan, but our agriculture land where I'm from Rajasthan, the desert area, depend on the rain. We depend on the nature.
Yes.
If rains, the agriculture there is.
So, CJ, when I make my speeches about agriculture in BC, I talk about what are the three most important things. You need sunshine, but you need water, and you need good soil. And the problem we have now in British Columbia, see, when I was a kid, CJ, irrigation, hardly anybody owned irrigation equipment because it always seemed to rain every 4 or 5 days. You'd be sunshine in the summer, but you'd get a couple of days of rain and back and forth. Now, when it turns hot, let's say even now, in the middle of June, it may stay hot all the way through till September. And so now everybody needs irrigation equipment, which is very expensive, but we need access to water. Whether you're up in the Okanagan or in the Caribou, the big thing is water. We need to figure out how we can capture water in the wintertime when it rains in British Columbia, capture that water, put it in reservoirs, and use it for irrigating in the summer. Because what the government's trying to do now is when it gets to the middle of August and things start, the creeks start going down, they shut down farmers from irrigating because they go, fish are more important than agriculture.
Yeah. ਸੋ ਈਐਨ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਗਰੀਕਲਚਰ ਦੀ ਬੈਕਗ੍ਰਾਉਂਡ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤਿੰਨ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਨਸ਼ਾਈਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਧੁੱਪ ਆ ਉਹ ਬੜੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਅਨਦਰ ਥਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਵਾਟਰ ਵੀ ਨੋ ਦੈਟ ਐਗਰੀਕਲਚਰ ਲਈ ਪਾਣੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਐਂਡ ਦ ਥਰਡ ਥਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ ਸੋਇਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਿੱਟੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਉਪਜਾਊ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਡਿਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਰਿਜ਼ਰਵਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਕ੍ਰੀਕਸ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਾ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰੋ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਊ ਦੇ ਵਿਲ ਸਰਵਾਈਵ so it's a kind of I know that agriculture it doesn't matter where you go in the world it's not a easy business or work to do and they work very very hard it's a tough industry and then we depend on the environment you know and so we digress a little bit Ian that we have a few minutes left.
But CJ, let me just add that
please.
Labor is such a huge issue for agriculture. Just like everything, whether it's a Tim Hortons or White Spot or it's a mill, we need labor. And that's why temporary foreign workers that are coming up from South America, from Jamaica, from Mexico,
even India.
From India, you know, we've had some politicians saying, oh, we need to get rid of temporary foreign workers. Agriculture would be completely devastated, just like all our little restaurants and coffee shops, if we didn't have those people. They're very important because, unfortunately, young people now that are born and raised in British Columbia, if you say, hey, how would you like to go work picking potatoes all day or picking blueberries? No, they're not too interested anymore, you know?
Yeah. ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟੈਂਪਰੇਰੀ ਫੋਰਨ ਵਰਕਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਦੂਜੀਆਂ ਕੰਟਰੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਬਾਕੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਬੋਰਨ ਕਿਡ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਖੇਤੀ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਐਂਡ ਉਹ ਆਪਦੀ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਟੈਕਨੀਕਲ ਔਰ ਵਟਐਵਰ ਆਈ ਦੇ ਸ਼ੁੱਡ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਐਂਡ grow in education. I firm believer in education, being a former life as a professor in India, so education is very important. But agriculture ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ workers ਚਾਹੀਦੇ, labor ਚਾਹੀਦੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਜਿਹੜੇ temporary reform work ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੀ restriction ਲਾ ਰੱਖੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਬੜਾ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਲ ਹੋਇਆ. So Ian, recently your party elected a new leader, Carrie Lynn Finley. There is a lot of different kind of views I'm hearing that a lot of people are not happy about that. The reason being it's a right-wing kind of person, and so there is a, like BC Conservative have a lot of former liberals there, a lot of, including yourself, coming from that stream, and there is a lot of frustration there, and people are thinking about reviving the BC Liberal brand again. What is your take on that?
Well, I don't see any of that happening. I think as a caucus, we're very together. I think we've sorted out some issues over the last year and a half. We have a very successful caucus of some very good people that are very good at their critic roles. We're excited about the fact that in the last 6 months, the BC Conservative Party has started to rise. The money's coming in. People are donating. You know, we're going up in the polls. We're well ahead of the NDP now. And, you know, Mr. Rustad stepped down. It was time for not so much renewal, but, you know, time for a new leader. And I've known Carrie Lynn Finley for many, many years when she was living in Ladner, and she was the member of parliament for Delta. So it's very early stages. This only happened about 2 weeks ago. Our first big caucus meeting is going to take place in a matter of 10 days or so, and we're going to wait and see. And you know, there's a lot of hope ahead that under the new leadership, hopefully things will go well, and Carrie Lynn will do a really good job. And she has great experience over the years federally. She's had cabinet roles in Ottawa. She's been elected as the whip for the Conservative Party in Ottawa. So she has a lot of experience and she knows how to get things done. I can remember many years ago going with Mayor Jackson and the city manager George Harvey to Ottawa looking for funding for dredging, and it was Carrie Lynn that made sure we wound up with $10 million out of Ottawa.
Yeah. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਕੈਰੀ ਲਿਨ ਫਿਨਲੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੁਣ ਜਿੱਤੇ ਆ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਆ, ਪੀਪਲ ਥਿੰਕ ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਰਾਈਟ ਵਿੰਗ, ਐਂਡ ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ lot of people are not happy, especially the former BC Liberals. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ caucus ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ, Ian ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕਿ we as a caucus we are together, and ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ caucus meeting ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 8-10 ਦਿਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ। ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ roles ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, there is a lot of roles will be changed, who will be running the different portfolios, and so ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ। But he says that Carrie Lynn Finley have a lot of experience as a member of parliament, cabinet 'ਚ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਰਵ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਡੈਲਟਾ 'ਚ MP ਸੀਗੇ, ਜੋਰਜ ਹਾਰਵੀ was actually city manager, and Lois Jackson was the mayor. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ as a councillor ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ। He thinks she can keep it together, so ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ। So my last question to you, Ian, is there is a city election coming. So George Horvey in the race, and Dylan Kruger, young guy. So with the former 3 or 4 councillor running with him, he's a sitting councillor as well. I know both of them. George Harvey, announced his team. What is your take on that?
Well, I try not to. It's municipal politics is getting rather heated these days.
Yes, and they started early. In Surrey, they started in last December.
I know, everybody's out door knocking. They've had these massive get-togethers to announce their team and whatnot. And, I'm trying to stay, Switzerland in this thing, I have a lot of respect for Mr. Harvey. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Dylan Kruger. I have respect for Melissa Granum, who's running as well. And they've got some very talented people on their teams that would make really good councillors. So, George has been around many, many years. He was a great city manager for Delta. Dylan Kruger, though, is a very brilliant, smart young guy that's got so many connections. I can't get over how many connections he has provincially and even federally. I think all 3 of them are very talented, and we're very lucky in Delta to have 3 talented people and some great people that have stepped up to run for council as well.
Yeah, so ਮੈਂ Delta ਦੇ civic election ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ, city ਦੇ election ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ 2 ਜੋਰਜ ਹਾਰਵੀ ਸਿਟੀ ਮੈਨੇਜਰ ਸੀਗੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, ਫਿਰ ਦੈਨ ਰਾਈਟ ਨਾਓ ਹੀ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਮੇਅਰ ਆਫ ਡੈਲਟਾ। ਸੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਈਐਨ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਕੈਪੇਬਲ, knowledgeable. Dylan Kruger, he knows really well. I know both of them really well. So Dylan Kruger ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਸੀਗੇ, and he's ਈਐਨ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ is very well connected. Provincially ਉਹਦੇ relationship ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, and federally, and actually during the leadership race, Dylan Kruger was one of the expert opinion on global news, and so ਦੋਨੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ expert ਹੈਗੇ। ਤੀਜੇ candidate ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਲਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ, but what the third candidate, we don't know much about him. Who's the third candidate?
Her name is Melissa Granum, and she actually used to be I think the executive assistant for the Delta police chief, Jim Sesford, at one time. And I think now she has recently been with the Surrey Police Department as an assistant.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So ਤੀਜੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ candidate, I don't miss that, Melissa Granum, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੈਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਚੀਫ ਸੀਗੇ। I had very good, interviewed him and get to know him. Very nice guy. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਫਿਸ 'ਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ, ਸਲੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ। So Melissa is the third candidate, so it will be very interesting to see. So for the sake of time, Ian, what are your final comments to our viewers?
My final comments is I think we've given, I've been 9 years since 2017 when the NDP made a deal with the BC Green Party and became government, even though we actually won that election with Christy Clark. I've spent 9 years as official opposition. It's becoming more and more frustrating for me to get things done because farmers, people call me, Ian, you can help me, you can help me. I go, well, I can only do so much. But we've given the NDP 9 years to try and move this province forward, and all I see is everything's moving backwards. Financial, it's a disaster with the debt that we've accumulated in British Columbia. helping senior citizens. Too many hospital closures. Every time you turn on the news, another emergency ward is closing down. Mills are closing down. People are being put out of work in small towns all over this province. It's time to rejuvenate this province and get some new blood in there, and that's the BC Conservative Party.
ਸੋ ਈਐਨ ਦਾ ਫਾਈਨਲ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਇਹਨੂੰ 9 ਸਾਲ ਆ ਗਏ ਆਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਕਲਾਰਕ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਫਾਰਮ ਕੀਤੀ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਲੈ ਕੇ, ਹੁਣ ਫੇਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫਾਰਮ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਫਰਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਿਊ ਬਲੱਡ ਤੇ ਨਿਊ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਚੇਂਜਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਈ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਸਕਣ। Ian, thank you very much. We go long ways back. We know each other really well. We are kind enough for you're a busy farmer. You have to hold the hay today.
Yeah.
Physically, I was surprised ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ Ian ਨੂੰ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਹਲੇ ਵੀ। So that's farmer's life anyways. Greatly appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I appreciate our friendship over the years, and I hope I can come back and do this again. Maybe when I'm in government.
That's right, yeah. You will be agriculture minister.
I hope
Yes,
so. I hope so. Yeah.
And you will do a great job. So ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਈਐਨ ਪੇਟਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਡੈਲਟਾ ਸਾਊਥ ਤੋਂ MLA ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਰਵ ਕਰਦੇ, ਡਾਊਨ ਟੂ ਅਰਥ ਪੀਪਲ, ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸਾਨ ਬੰਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਬੜੇ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਾਨ ਪਾਰਟੀਜਨ, ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਹ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਸਾਂਝਾ TV ਤੇ। ਅਸੀਂ couple of weeks ago the minister from NDP, she came on my show. ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਨਵਾਈਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, they can come on my show and clarify and let people know what they think and what they are try to do different things. And so ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ। And on the other side, on a positive note, New York Knicks ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ NBA after 35 years they won the championship. There's big party going on in New York and I hope that will stay peaceful. So ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਵਾਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਰੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ CJ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਸ਼ੋ every Thursday from 7 to 8 o'clock। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਧੰਨਵਾਦ, ਰੱਬ ਰੱਖ।